Hello, everyone. We will be commencing shortly. Thank you for everyone who is on this call, on this virtual event attending. I'm just going to give a few more minutes, just 2 more minutes for everyone else to have the opportunity to join our virtual event. I see more and more people are joining. I'm just going to give them 1 more minute and then we will start. Okay, wonderful. We'll go ahead and get started. I want to make sure first that everyone can hear me. Can someone just maybe unmute one of our speakers and just give me a heads up? Just want to double check. I don't hear any response.
Yep, we hear you.
Perfect. Okay, great. So hello everyone and welcome to our virtual event to Blossom Accelerator's Women Drive Economies event in partnership with the amazing ERA, which is New York City's leading tech accelerator. My name is Iman Shakur, and I'm the founder and CEO of Blossom Accelerator, Saudi Arabia's first female-focused and inclusivity accelerator. And I'm so excited to be with all of you here tonight. The focus and premise of this event and the focus of Blossom Accelerator is to further empower and enable female founders and aspiring founders so we can see a world where there are more women-led tech companies and more female CEOs in Saudi Arabia, in the Arab world, and beyond. But before I commence, I have to first take a minute and extend our deepest gratitude to our amazing partners and sponsors, to our strategic partner, Monsha'at, to our official sponsor, Noornof, that have always supported us, and to our amazing and continued community partners, Aqal, The Space, Crate, Creative Mornings, and Destination KSA. We thank you so much, as this event would not have been possible without you. I started Blossom Accelerator 3 years ago because I believe in the exponential power of exceptional female talent. And often I see a gap specifically in the segment of female founders pertaining to venture capital and investments. I continuously see female founders underserved, yet ironically, they're an outperforming segment in comparison to their counterparts. And actually, according to Forbes magazine, companies that have at least one woman on the team outperform all male teams by 63%, showing that diverse teams with women on board are pivotal and vital to startup success and growth. Studies also done by a variety of outlets, including Boston Consulting Group, shows that having at least one woman on the team not only increases profit margins, but the overall likelihood of that company to succeed. And over the last 3 years, my team and I at Blossom Accelerator have had the great privilege and honor of mentoring over 300 female-focused teams. Whether it's been through our female-focused accelerator or our female-focused hackathons, we've mentored companies in 38 cities and across 5 countries. But perhaps what has been most insightful and most interesting is, regardless of country, location, geography, what we found, whether the female founder was based out of Saudi Arabia or Silicon Valley, what female founders often lack access to are very similar things. We found that they lack access to funding opportunities, to vital networks, and to technical skills such as coding. And that's where Blossom Accelerator comes into place, to fill that gap and to create a more inclusive startup ecosystem, whether it's been through our past accelerator programs or our future events and accelerator programs that we're spearheading into 2021. With that being said, I must now, with the greatest honor and privilege, welcome our fellow amazing speakers that we have tonight. They're a culmination of wonderful female founders, female CEOs, female angel investors. I'm also really excited for all of you to hear the Saudi female-focused, very early stage startup pitches. And with that being said, thank you all for joining us and for continuously supporting us. And now, with the greatest honor, I pass it over to my dear colleague, Ina, and to our distinguished partners, which also this event would not be possible without, ERA, which is New York City's leading tech accelerator. Ina, I'll pass it over to you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Iman, and thank you everyone for being here with us today. I understand that currently in Saudi Arabia, it is 8 p.m. So really appreciate you all for being here this evening. Like Iman mentioned, my name is Ina, and I currently run ERA Global, which is the global division of Entrepreneurs Roundtable Accelerator. We are New York's first and largest early stage tech startup accelerator and seed investment fund. So very simply, what we do is that we make direct investment in early stage companies, and we help them grow through a 4-month acceleration program. We love to say that at ERA, we are extremely hands-on, and we really want to focus on supporting our companies and really help them go from 0 to 1. So our programs, are a combination of one-on-one mentoring, group workshop, but also all sort of other added value that we can provide to our companies. We have a network of over 500 mentors, 35 venture partner and lead mentors, as well as multiple corporate partners. And we would love to actually, have some more entrepreneurs from all over the world, including Saudi Arabia. So we're actually currently, we have our applications open. I will pop the link in the chat for anyone who is interested. And would love to see your application because, as Iman mentioned, women founders are the future. This is something that I personally very much believe. And at ERA, we also believe in supporting thriving talents, especially that have been traditionally marginalized. So very excited about the panel today. And I'm really excited about meeting you all. Feel free to connect. If you have any questions about ERA or anything about the ecosystem in New York, I'll be more than happy to answer as well. So I will turn it over to Iman.
Thank you so much, Ina. And I highly encourage, if you haven't heard about ERA, this is your time to go check it out. Definitely, any program that allows you to have global reach is always amazing. And now, with the greatest honor, I'm so stoked and excited, and I'm going to say stoked because that's the California term of saying excited. I believe she's currently now based out of Silicon Valley, but she is a female founder who's based out of the United States. If you haven't heard about her company, you will in just a bit. I would love to welcome the CEO and founder of Scentbird, Maria Nuris-Lamova.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Of course, thank you so much. I'm so privileged and honored, and from me and everyone in Saudi Arabia and the Arab world, we're so excited to have you. So thank you for making the time midday. Where are you based out of right now? Where are we speaking you from?
New York City.
Okay, New York City, so not Silicon Valley. Okay.
No, although we did move the company for 6 months to Silicon Valley as we're going through another accelerator program. We've gone through 2. So one of them was on the West Coast and the other one was in New York.
Amazing. Okay, well, for anyone who doesn't know, please do tell us more about Scentbird. How did you come up with the idea? How did you essentially become an entrepreneur? Tell us your story.
Oh, wow. God. I was really bad at working for other people. Really, that's the story. I mean, it's not like I was ever fired or anything from any of the other jobs. I was just very miserable waking up in the morning because I had all of these great ideas, or the ideas that I thought were great. And so it was just, I think, a matter of fact till I became an entrepreneur. And then when I was in college here in New York, I was actually in a panel discussion, not dissimilar to this one. And I heard the founder of Reddit, Alexis Ohanian, speak, and just something was ignited in me. It was just so inspiring he was running an internet company. And, I was like, okay, I must find out everything and anything I can about like his world, which was the world of Silicon Valley, obviously. And, that ignited something in me. Scentbird is a startup in the fragrance space, so beauty space. We are a fragrance subscription service, US based, and we are only in one market at the moment, and we help people date fragrances before marrying them. So we get called the Netflix for perfume, and the way this works is it's a membership service. People pay us $15 a month, and they get a monthly supply of a fragrance of their choice. So they can select from our vast portfolio of over 500 different fragrances. We also have a recommendation technology-based algorithm on the back, guiding them as to what they should order next. And I really started this particular business out of my frustration with fragrance shopping. I felt like I was always making the mistake, going into the store, getting really overwhelmed, would bring that fragrance, a bottle that I really fell in love with to my home. And then it wouldn't smell like what I remember it smelled like in a store. And I'm like, there's gotta be a better way. What if somebody could discover their next fragrance from their house? And so the rest is history,
Right. Right. No, that's incredible. So essentially, subscription box every single month, they get a variety of different perfumes that they've picked based on what they're, what they're interested in, whether they're into lemony flavors, flowery flavors, different scents.
Yeah, almost. So it's actually one fragrance a month for $15, and it operates almost like a fragrance rental. So you get like a really, really big amount. So that would last you for 30 days. And so for somebody that doesn't want to invest in a full-size product, they can literally get a new perfume every month, and that would last them for a full 30 days.
Amazing. So of a company of this kind, I'm really interested to know, and I'm sure the audience would be too, that how did, early investors, angels, or venture capitalists, receive this, since maybe they didn't know a lot about this industry. So tell us more about your fundraising journey. How much money did you raise in total, and what were some challenges like?
Yeah, we have raised a total of $28 million. The last round that I did was 2 years ago. It was a Series A. The company has since been profitable, and we're turning a really, really solid profit every month. So I don't have to fundraise ever again, which is good news, but the journey was interesting. When I started fundraising, so Scentbird is the first company that I ever raised venture funding for. And when we got started initially, I really didn't have a network of angels or anybody really who, I knew some high net worth individuals, but that was about it.
Right.
Initially, the journey was, I think if I said that it was hard, it would be an understatement. I kind of was a first-time startup founder, although not a first-time entrepreneur, a girl pitching mostly men with money about fragrance. And the number one early stage response was, I don't use fragrance. My wife doesn't use fragrance, so there is no market for what you're selling. So I'm not even, I have a hard time relating to even the basic premise of your industry.
Right.
Which is really, really interesting to me, because I don't know how it is that in the United States, a lot of high net worth individuals don't wear fragrance. I am originally Russian, I'm European. So for us, it's a different world. Everybody uses fragrance. That's like what you do.
Yeah, same in the Arab world. It's a pivotal part of just existing in life and going out.
Yeah, and so my learning curve was going from pitching this as a hard-based passion story of perfume and how I'm going to change people's lives, to almost a mathematical and numbers-driven pitch that still had an element of passion. But one thing that I learned about investors is, if you lead with the numbers, and if you lead with traction, and if you lead with how big the market is, and, you know, the sheer mass and volume of the problem that you're trying to solve, they find it a lot easier to believe you and be able to relate. And it's almost funny, like, you know, I used to start with this big story and how I'm the person to solve this problem. And my most effective pitches towards the end of it was just me showing up with one graph, which was a growth graph of my subscriber count. So I would just show up and like, this is all you need to know about my business. It's a hockey stick. Now let's talk about what I actually do. And it completely changed the dynamics. It went from me needing like 7 meetings to even get to a no, to me getting a yes within 10 minutes of the pitch. Wow. So it was like a complete shift.
So focusing on what they found interesting, you know, at the time, regardless of what you thought was most interesting to pitch.
Correct. Yeah, really focus on the numbers, really focus on the traction. And then they become interested about why does it work and what is it that you're selling. And they're like, your revenue is how much? Okay, I guess she has a business. Now let's hear about perfume.
Okay, amazing. Wow, that's spectacular. I'm wondering also, you mentioned you're originally from Russia. And as a non-US woman, or, you know, a woman that's also in the US, what are some biases you faced? I think it would be interesting for us to hear. Biases exist all around the world. So what are some biases you faced, and what advice do you have for women who face those biases? What do we do? What should we do? Or what have you done? Any piece of advice would be really helpful.
Yeah. I mean, obviously bias is all around us. But I actually prefer to live in the world. And like, you know, I think fundamentally each of us create our own version of reality. Right. I don't know if this is like too psychology, but I personally have never believed that I'm less just because I'm a woman. I've never personally signed on to the belief that just because I'm Russian, English is not my first language, that somehow I'm a second-class citizen. And to be honest with you, that was completely reflected in the people that I attracted and the investors that I attracted into my world. I have the most amazing investors. Yes, a lot of them are male, but I don't feel like I am it's hard for me to even think of any bias or any type of discrimination that I faced as a woman. Like literally in my version of reality, it didn't exist. And it's not because I wasn't, you know, I just think that part of it is how you position yourself, right? And again, like I never thought I was anything less. And I don't think women should think that way, right? It is hard, and maybe the rest of the world is not on board with how you perceive yourself, but I think like we are incredibly strong. And I think the statistics that you use at the beginning around like how businesses are actually a lot more successful with, you know, like a female founder, you know, I think that we should really give ourselves credit.
Absolutely.
We really should give ourselves credit for who we are. And I think if you internally are not stopped by it, you are going to attract the right type of investor that sees the value in what you do and actually believes that you're perfect for the type of business that you found, because it's, you know, based on passion and based on what you know. So no bias for me, luckily. I mean, have I had situations where, I mean, it was very few and like in between sometimes, like when very like once in a blue moon, you know, where I would be pitching in a person who's like an angel, you know, these would be not professional investors, but they would be like, darling, why do you even need a business? Like, just like, I'll take care of you. Like, did I get that? Yes. But it was like also like once in a blue moon. And, you know, I would just politely smile and leave, you know, that's it. End of story. Like, fine. It doesn't have to change who I am, right? Or what I think about myself just because somebody made that statement.
Absolutely. Oh, I love this. I want to take a moment and ask the audience also. So we have a poll question, and I want to ask the audience, as a female entrepreneur, which of the following is a core challenge? And, you know, if you're a male on this amazing virtual event, please feel free to vote. I'll just take, we'll just take a minute and get people's answers. Just thought to get some engagement to see maybe what challenges are perceived of everyone attending this event. And yeah, I mean, that sounds like, I mean, I love that kind of mentality. Like, just because the world, for whatever reason, whoever these individuals are, and the psychology of attracting, I really do believe in that. So I guess we'll just take another 10 seconds, maybe. If we look like we're getting enough responses, maybe we can just close it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm interested to see. Okay, interesting. So 42% believe they lack access to funding, and then it's in the order after to networks and then to technologies. Okay, so it's great to see that, you know, people feel comfortable with using tech. Okay, wonderful. From here, I guess I'm interested to know, how did you know it was the right time for you to join an accelerator? And what do you believe you got out of the experience? If you could share it with everyone, I think for anyone who hasn't joined an accelerator, I think they would love to know.
Yeah. ERA was our first accelerator and was our first investor in Sunbird, way before we had any meaningful revenue. So I'm so grateful to them that at that point in our life, they took a chance on Sunbird and on me as a founder, to be honest.
Right.
How did I know it was the right time to take? Well, I was struggling to fundraise is how I knew it was the time to do something. Also, I had 3 co-founders, out of which 2 quit their jobs to pursue Sunbird full time. And so as the CEO, I felt responsible for them and their families, because I was like, okay, I don't have cash to pay their salaries. So I have to do something. And I was on this fundraising bandwagon for maybe about 2 months, which is, again, nothing in the grand scheme of things, but it wasn't going well. Like, I heard no so many times. It was really frustrating even getting to a no. Like, it was a meeting after a meeting after a meeting. Can you give me another projection, a 5-month plan? Can you show me your P&L and your balance sheet? I was like, I didn't know those words at the time, like, not truly. I mean, yes, I went to business school, but like, I didn't have a P&L on a business that didn't have revenue, if you know what I mean. So how did, I at the time was lucky enough to have met Murat, who is, one of the founders of ERA. And, they took a chance on Sunbird. So that was the first cash. It was our first $40,000, I believe it was at the time.
Amazing.
What did we get out of it? ERA really spends a lot of, like, the founders, the partners spend a lot of time, with each startup. So it was actually a very small program, because I went through 2. In 2014, we went through ERA, and it was 10 companies in the batch. So very, cherry picked, and a lot of like time invested in each single founder. And honestly, they helped us with everything. Like, they helped us incorporate, like, get some early legal advice, think about how we should think about comp, introduced us to mentors. Our second accelerator was in 2015, and that was Y Combinator, and that was on the West Coast.
Right.
So we went out there, and in between, actually, after ERA, I raised some money. So I think that at first, as a first-time founder, starting off with an accelerator is actually a very smart move, because it allows you to just move faster, get all the introductions, and get access to capital, which seems to be like one of the struggles of the audience here. And then actually, because, ERA's network was mostly on the East Coast, they really also wanted the Silicon Valley network. And that was why we went to California for the second accelerator.
Amazing. Oh, wow. That's spectacular. And I mean, so you talked about fragrances, and early on how in the US, even people that were high net worth weren't wearing them for some reason. I'm wondering, where do you see the company in the next 5 to 10 years? And would we have the great honor of seeing Sunbird expand to MENA and to Saudi Arabia?
We are definitely looking at global expansion, for sure. Okay. With probably the first home base being in Europe. And then, a 10-year plan, I would definitely love to be in Saudi Arabia.
Amazing. Yeah. We'd love to have you. I think, I think MENA, if I'm not, or GCC specifically, I think we have like the highest number of selling of perfumes, wholesale and retail. I'm one of the people that, I just have like a whole vanity of all these perfumes. So I'm sure the audience, if this was a live audience, would be nodding and agreeing. And I guess last, I kind of wanted to know, and the audience to get to know you a little bit better. What's a fun fact about you that we don't know? You can tell us anything, and it needs not to also, doesn't necessarily need to be related to Sunbird. It's up to you. Just any fun fact.
Oh God. I'm an aspiring book author, but not in a business book sense. I'm actually writing a novel, a fantasy novel. I don't know if that's fun or not, but like I really get carried away. And I got the idea for that in a dream. It's like when you dream of a book, like you must birth it. So like I'm doing it at the moment, and it's a lot of fun.
That's amazing. So you're writing the book as you have the startup.
Yes.
Oh, that's so incredible. That's amazing. Well, from me, I mean, we're so lucky to have you. So thank you so much. Just, I guess, one last piece of advice before I let you go that you want to give to the audience. Imagine probably 70% women, 30% men, but to aspiring entrepreneurs who want to start, maybe one piece of advice, and then I'll let you go, and then you'll be a judge later. But yeah.
The best piece of advice is the darkest hour is right before the dawn. So if you feel like you're about to give up, just don't. And especially true for women. I started this journey with so many amazing female entrepreneurs, and a lot of them just didn't stick around with their original idea, or like when they heard no's, they stopped pitching. And I feel like women specifically give up too early. And I was just lucky enough that I have like a personal mentor that I was like this close to giving up on Sunbird about it 14 months into the business.
Wow.
And I called him and I'm like, Michael, I think we're going to pivot. That's it. Like it's, I think it's over. It's not working. I don't think nobody in this country wants fragrances. And he's like, Maria, don't, like, you have to stick around. And he's like, you spent 14 months learning all the ways of how not to build a fragrance company. So if I, it's like, I would bet on you as an entrepreneur to figure it out. Amazing. And so, he like really helped me in the moment where it was like a really dark hour where I was like, I mean, I don't think this is going to work. And I'm really, really grateful to him. And so, I mean, my biggest advice is, if things feel bleak, it doesn't mean it's forever. And sometimes we just have to persevere as entrepreneurs and really believe in ourselves, especially women.
I love that. So don't give up easily, or hopefully never give up. And then it's good to have a good mentor that can encourage you in those dark times. I love it. Lovely. Thank you so much for your time, Maria. We're excited to see you in about 45 minutes for the startup pitches. And thank you again so much for joining all the way from New York.
No, thanks for having me.
All right.
Talk to you in a little bit.
Talk to you in a little bit. So wow, wasn't she fantastic? I'm so happy that she joined, where our next amazing female founder is much closer to home. She is a Saudi founder, and she's raised money from both Silicon Valley and Saudi Arabia. She's the CEO and founder of Bondi. If you haven't heard about it, she'll tell you in just a bit. May I please give a warm welcome to Sadia Al-Dirhali. Hi, Sadia.
Hi, Iman. How's it going?
Going great. Thank you so much for joining in.
No, thank you for having me. Honestly, it's an honor to be on this panel.
Of course. So Sadia, you're from Jeddah, so everyone kind of knows where you are. تتكلمي عربي. أنتي سعودية. Okay, ممتاز. Super excited. Before, so Sadia, mashallah, she has a company called Bondi, and she'll be telling you about it in a bit because I'll be asking her. But before that, I'm really interested to know, and for anyone here on the call or on this virtual event, I'm interested to know, how did you get into entrepreneurship and starting a tech company at such a young age? Did you always know you were going to be a CEO of an amazing tech company that raises venture capital? Like, tell me a little bit more about the beginning.
Sure, for sure. So I was always into entrepreneurship, and I always knew that I was going to be doing my own thing. That was just my personality growing up. Never thought about going into tech. Was not a big fan of tech. I actually hated being on my phone, on my laptop. Growing up, even throughout high school, I always hid my laptop away, and I was a lot more of an outdoorsy person.
Right.
And so, yeah, so as you said, I grew up in Jeddah, and I was always into sports, and I loved playing football as a kid growing up here. But for girls, like 15 years ago, it was very like looked down upon if you're a girl playing sports. But I loved playing it, and everyone told me that I was really good at it. So I was like, you know what, I'm leaving. I'm going to boarding school. I'm going to play football at boarding school. And I moved to Boston. And
so at this point, the entrepreneurship thing wasn't on the table yet. You weren't even thinking about
I was practicing like a few things. Like I'd get excited about like selling bracelets back at home that I'd get from the States, and doing things like that. But then I think the fire lit up in me when I got to Boston, and I barely made it on the football team. I was on the bench, and that kind of inspired me to come back to Saudi and open something to do with like country clubs and like coaching soccer. I wanted to do that, which eventually inspired hospitality and tourism, which is what I studied for my bachelor's at Boston University. And then as a byproduct of that, all my friends would look at me when they wanted to plan a trip with their friends. They'd be like, oh, you're studying this, like this is your major. You should be the group trip leader.
Right.
And as soon as I started planning trips with friends, I completely like fell into a trap of like being responsible for everyone, spending hours like fighting on the WhatsApp group. And
like where should we go? How do we split this?
oh my God. Yeah. Where should we go? When? What do you want to do? Everyone has different opinions, and it was just a hassle. And coincidentally, I was taking entrepreneurship in hospitality class that same time. And the professor was like, hey, your country club idea is great, but it has to be something in tech. Because it was about the time that like apps were becoming a thing, like back in 2013. And he really forced me to like think outside the box. And that's when the idea of a group travel app was born. So the idea of the app was to just take the hassle out of group trip planning. So I got into that.
Amazing.
And then very quickly got intimidated by the idea of starting a tech company when I was like 20 years old, 21.
Oh, I never knew
like,
this part of the story. There was a part where you felt intimidated.
I chickened out.
Okay,
no,
I
was like,
but it's important for people to know, because if they ever went through that, you know, that it's normal. I've had that part in my life personally.
Yeah, you know, and I just kept making excuses for myself. I was like, this is not for you. You're still in college. You're in the US. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's too hectic.
Right.
And I just, you know, like slipped it to the back of my head. And I graduated and I ended up working at hotels like all around the world. But whatever I did, this idea was in the back of my head. And eventually,
and it wouldn't go away.
Yeah. And eventually I was like, you know what? Like, I couldn't picture myself living the rest of my life with this idea in the back of my head, and someone saying, oh, like, hey, every time someone would say, oh, hey, let's go on a trip. Oh, I don't feel like planning. And that's, I'm like, Sadia, like, this is your cue. Like, this is your time to start an app. So I believe it was July 2018 when I was like, okay, this is it. I'm not going to work. And I never had a full-time job really. Like, I was always interning everywhere.
Amazing.
And I was like, okay, this is your time. And then I actually moved to Silicon Valley to start it.
Amazing. Okay, so I love this. I love hearing about the beginnings. They're, to me, one of the most interesting parts. So to anyone who didn't fully get it, tell us exactly, what is Bondi? It's an app, it sounds like. You can tell, you know, the audience specifically, but tell us what is Bondi, and maybe some of, hopefully, the good stuff that's happening for Bondi, given the fact that there's a travel ban currently in Saudi Arabia. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure. So that was just the first part of the story. So I was working on it in Silicon Valley for over a year and a half, and we're about to launch in October of 2019. So the app we were launching was a group travel app that took the hassle out of group trip planning. So you're able to log into an app with your friends, vote on your favorite itineraries, split payments, and streamline the whole process, like literally in one app. And just the goal was to reduce the time it took to plan a trip from 30 hours to 30 minutes. Coincidentally, that same month literally is when Saudi opened up for tourism for the first time ever.
Wow.
And my investors looked at me, they're like, you need to go back home. Like, this is your time to go back home. And a year before that, they were very against the idea of launching in Saudi or anything to do with Saudi.
Right.
But Saudi has made so much progress just in 1 year, and they opened up for tourism, and they're like, you need to go back home. And literally within 2 days, I packed up, I went back home, and then I get to Saudi and I realized that, okay, the problem is not like there's no app to help groups plan their trips together. There is no app to plan a trip, full stop. Like, there is no there is no marketplace there. Like, when you think of going on a trip, you can't really like log into a website or app and plan your trip or see what the options are. So we quickly pivoted into a double-sided marketplace. So Bondi is now a double-sided marketplace where young millennials are able to discover experiences due in Saudi, and where we also help experience providers such as tour operators, travel agencies, tour guides, publish and manage their trips better to get more bookings done faster, as opposed to like the very long process of pen and paper, Facebook, Instagram DMs, WhatsApps,
Right.
IBAN transfers, and that whole
Send
mess.
a screenshot to WhatsApp group, and then by the, oh, I love it.
Yeah,
It's
call my
amazing.
aunt
And so
who
people
knows
can
a
go
guy, who knows a guy, who knows a guy. You
right.
know
Who
how
knows the guy?
Saudi
Because
works?
yeah, because how am I going to go to these, exciting new destinations across Saudi? And
Yeah.
if I don't, and even us locals, like إحنا كسعوديين, I mean, I don't know how will I know? So really, so anyone can now just download the app and start using it for anyone interested.
Yeah, I mean, we just took the app offline to fix a few things, but the website's up and running. Yeah, you can definitely book a trip.
Amazing.
We'd love to host you guys. Yeah.
Awesome. So when should I tell the audience to recheck? They go to the website for now?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's available.
amazing.
It's working. Yeah, you can book
So
an
just
experience.
bondi.io. Got it.
Yeah.
Guy, did you guys hear that? Bondi, BONDAI.io. Got that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, www. Okay, amazing, awesome. Well, I'm curious to know too. You talked about how in early, you were into athletics and into sports. Obviously, in the beginning, in the earlier days in Saudi, that wasn't a big thing for Saudi women to get into. And now
Yeah.
you're into this other amazing career path. Kind of combined your original passion, but now in the startups, entrepreneurship sector. I'm curious to know if, as a female founder, you feel like you faced any particular challenges. And if so, what advice do you have for anyone to overcome them?
Honestly, interestingly enough, it was actually kind of the same situation as Maria was saying. It's all about the way you position yourself. And of course, I was a bit intimidated, like being in Silicon Valley as a Saudi woman, pitching to like the most popular VCs in the world and being around the most successful startups in the world. But there was just something in me, like this fire, and like I surrounded myself around other founders who helped me instill like this sense of confidence that
you can do it.
Give me all, it's like, you can do it. Like, why are you scared? Like, who cares what this guy's name is or what his track record is? You can pitch him, you can do it. So I literally had to wake up every morning and just tell myself that, like, you can do it. Like, why not you? You know what I mean? So thank God, like, alhamdulillah, I did not face a lot of that. I mean, of course, there were days when people at first would kind of laugh, but then when they started asking me questions and I was able to answer them really well and go beyond their like expectations, the table completely turned around. And yeah, so it's really about the way you position yourself and like, like just take advantage of living off of that high. Like, you're excited about starting a business and nothing can stop you. So just really like the passion is what should keep you going. And then like I said, there are times when people can be condescending or can look down on you, and that's when you like speak up, and literally if you're not comfortable, you get up and leave the room, and don't let anyone make you feel like you're not worthy of pitching them or their time, or worthy of being a founder of like an amazing startup.
Right. I love that. So it sounds like no matter what, you were fearless, and it was natural to have those feelings sometimes of self-doubt, but you kept on going and you knew your stuff. So if anyone had a doubt, you just shut it down real quick and you just never took no for an answer. That's spectacular.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, like, your business more than anyone else. Of course, you always take advice, and of course there are entrepreneurs who have done it before and have failed, and you can learn from their failures, but you do know your business the most at the end of the day, so you should hang on to that.
What I find super fascinating about you, Sadia, is you're one of the few founders that I know that has raised investment from both Saudi Arabia and Silicon Valley. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I'm interested to know, like, what is that like, and what is it like raising money, for investment? Like, how does a company know they're even ready for investment? Can you give any of, the entrepreneurs here that are looking to raise some pieces of advice? Because you're an expert at this point.
Not an expert, but
I've seen you pitch. You're pretty amazing.
But it's all from like the accelerators and the training and working with you as a mentor, of course, which has taught me a lot. But yeah, I mean, raising in Silicon Valley, I actually started thinking about fundraising as soon as I thought about Bondi, which was way too early, but I didn't know any better. So I spent a lot of time on that. Of course, got a lot of no's, but at the end of the year, I realized that was great training, because you're kind of like practicing on people,
Right.
and then like by the end of the year, like you start actually pitching the bigger VCs and the bigger angels, and you already have answered all the questions, and you have better traction and better numbers to show them, and that's when you can start hearing a yes or anything
Right.
close to a yes. But definitely like joining accelerators, being so vulnerable. Like I literally used to sign up to every pitch competition in Silicon Valley. No one knew me. Barely anyone knew anything about Saudi, or like what's going on there. But I just put myself out there and I practiced. And I honestly, like, obviously, yeah, I got a lot of no's, but I never let it get to me because I knew it was super early.
Yeah.
And then definitely like practicing again in Silicon Valley and then coming to Saudi has made things a lot easier for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's so amazing to hear how many no's you got and how comfortable you are, not only with receiving the no's, but sharing with us the no's too. Like you have some tough skin. Like I'm pretty, you're amazing.
I
Um,
mean, yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just like, I want other people to, who are just starting to realize that, yes, you're going to get no's, but doesn't mean you shut down.
right,
Doesn't mean like you quit.
right,
Doesn't mean like you look down on yourself. Like, it's just good practice. Like at the beginning, of course, it was hard, and I was like doubting myself. I'm like, why are you even doing this? Like, why don't you just accept a job offer in Saudi, which I was getting? But it's just, I don't know, like if you truly believe in your product and you're passionate about it, then you just keep going. And then yeah, I guess it was important for me not to like be too attached to Bondi or fall too much into it, because if I loved the product so much, I wouldn't have pivoted
right,
into a marketplace in Saudi. And if I hadn't done that, the original Bondi would have been long gone. Like, for
right,
sure, Bondi would have been dead if I didn't even pivot markets or product
right, right,
a
right.
year ago. Yeah,
So
less than a year ago.
it's interesting. So you're talking about pivoting, and I'm wondering, because I know you've been through two accelerator programs, or is that correct? I'm one,
I think yeah, three.
three. Okay, wonderful. So
Yeah.
tell everyone watching, like, what was your experience going through an accelerator program, and what was, in your opinion, the best thing about it? Because you
Sure.
three. That's pretty awesome. Like, I love that you're just such a go-getter.
I'm trying my best. So honestly, I love going through accelerators. Obviously, like, you're always learning so much from the mentors, with the other founders around you, and it's always inspiring when you see a founder next to you who's like trying his or her like third or fourth startup after failing miserably the other ones, and them just like picking back up and continuing.
Right.
And yeah, so the first accelerator was Draper, which you're familiar with, of course, in Silicon Valley. So just breathing that air was helpful,
Yeah.
and being
Right.
being in that community. And I think the biggest takeaway from that one was literally uh, like you're gonna fail, you're gonna fall down, just get back up and keep going. And it taught me how to be vulnerable, because we could be like chilling at the office, and then some startup founder would walk in, like a unicorn startup founder would walk in and would start asking you questions, and you just had to be ready, and you couldn't just, get shy and like run away and be like,
Right.
oh, no, I can't like talk to him or talk to her.
Right.
And then yeah, they just challenged you on everything, and you had to be willing to make those changes. And then the second accelerator I joined was in Portugal. Actually, it was by the Tourism Board of Portugal. They hosted this travel tech accelerator. So it was 20 startups, 20 travel tech startups from around the world. That was only for just over a month.
Right.
And it was great because it was focused for the travel industry. So I was able to network a lot and like learn about what others in the space are doing. And then the third one, which recently ended in May, was 500 startups, or Falcons in Saudi,
Mm-hmm.
which was very intense because it's one of the only accelerators, I believe, that require you to be in the office with them every single day.
Mm.
And we had in-person sessions and lectures every single day. And that was a whole different level because they really dug into your numbers. We had to do stand-ups every single morning, talk about our KPIs. And the biggest takeaway from that was just keep experimenting, because, you know, I could sit here and talk all day about, oh my God, like we have this amazing feature.
Right.
We think people are going to love it. Like, and they're like, how do you know? Like, did you try it
Right.
out? And I'm like, no, but I'm sure they're going to love it. They're like, no, they're not. Like,
Right.
try it out, like do A/B testing, like actually launch it. Like, don't be afraid of doing something so silly. Like, if users love it, then you keep it. If not, then you don't like
Right.
delve further into it. Yeah.
Right. Oh, I love that. Just hearing your experience going through accelerator programs. That's superb. I do want to ask our audience a question. We have a quick poll question for everyone, which is, as an entrepreneur, what do you feel you need the most? So you heard from Sadia talking about, you know, how she spoke to the big CEOs, that sometimes could be intimidating. She had to talk to customers because, you know, to get to that A/B testing and test different things, or qualitative and quantitative data. So we'd love to know from everyone. We'll give everyone just a few seconds to quickly vote, and then I'll just do a countdown from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What does our audience think? Okay, interesting. A lot of different. So 45% need the right mentors, and then 31% how to raise money. So they talk about funding as well. And then how to get customers, definitely very important, no assumptions. And last but not least, how to find a technical co-founder or co-founders. Interesting, very insightful. Sadia, it's such a pleasure, having you. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know we're going to chat a bit in another about 15 minutes. I thank you so much. Can you just give everyone just one last fun fact about you that people might not know? What is something about Sadia beyond Bondi?
Beyond Bondi, I have 68 allergies.
No.
Yeah. So my next startup is gonna probably be in the allergy / health wellness space.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Interesting. I would not have guessed that.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure having you, and we'll chat a bit in the next 15 minutes. And I'm really looking forward to hearing your feedback from the startups.
No, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for being a great mentor and helping me transition from Silicon Valley back to Saudi, and kind of like gauging the market. I really appreciate it, and I recommend everyone here to reach out to Iman for support and to join Blossom.
You're so kind. Thank you so much, Sadia.
Thank you.
The pleasure's all mine. And now I'd love to transition to our final speaker before we get into startup pitches. I'm sure you all know her. She's absolutely amazing. Her name is Amal Dukhan, and she is the CEO of Global Entrepreneurship Network. Amal has been a great mentor to me over the years, and has given me hope to build Blossom, to continue Blossom. So if I could welcome Amal Dukhan to our virtual stage.
Hello, how are you?
Doing great. Hi, Amal. How are you?
I'm very good. It's been such a wonderful evening hearing all those founders and the inspiring stories. It's been really great.
Thank you so much. We're so happy and honored and excited to have you. So for anyone who everyone here knows Amal, but anyone who doesn't know Amal Dukhan needs to look her up. Like, you are, for me, the female leader in Saudi Arabia. You know this, but I want to make sure everyone in the audience knows it too. And so I'm so excited to ask you a few questions. Firstly, I would love to know, how did you get into entrepreneurship? And what do you think is the most exciting part about starting a company for anyone here looking to become a founder?
No, that's quite an important question, and a very big question, right?
Yeah, right.
It's the golden one, actually, Iman.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know that, but my background was basically in education, right? So as a teacher, as a high school principal for quite some time until 2009. But I mean, it was a sudden decision to shift and do a master's degree in strategic marketing, right?
Right.
And during that, it was the first intros to companies and to basically advising different teams inside organizations to shift and pivot towards, different new marketing techniques and to focus more on customers. And during that time, I started working with a company that was producing, you know, a new platform, an online platform.
Right.
And maybe back then, at that time, I didn't probably know that it was a startup company. I didn't know what that means. It was just a new company that utilizes certain technology, and we needed money. So we had to reach out for people to give us money. I don't know why would they do that and give money to a company that didn't know exactly what they were doing. So I think these are the first days, but maybe moving forward, you know, and to the days in, you know, in 2013 when I joined Kaus, I mean, those were the days where I started being engaged with the team there to work on seed funding startups and companies in the technology field, and then to building one of the first accelerators, basically the early accelerators in Saudi Arabia. And from there to MIT, you know, for a period of time, and then coming back and trying to apply all of these knowledges. After that, I worked for Babson for a period of time, which was considered to be, you know, and still as one of the leading colleges in entrepreneurship. So, and I think with MIT Enterprise Forum also over the years, I managed to have seen, you know, all these entrepreneurs around the globe, and especially in the MENA region and in different parts of Africa, starting these ideas and producing them. And I felt that this was part of my mission, you know, is to be with founders, to back up founders, to be the bridge to investors, to be the bridge to facilitate, you know, that journey for them. And maybe that's how it is, you know, from the very beginning all the way to being in acceleration, you know, programs, basically.
Right, amazing. Yeah, that's spectacular. So I'm wondering, mashallah alayki, with all this knowledge and all these experiences, and I'm sure you've seen like ecosystems, startup ecosystems around the world. I've seen you in Saudi. I've texted you while you were in the US. I've seen you in Switzerland. So I'm really interested to know your perspective. What do you think makes a spectacular startup? Is it the idea? Is it the personality of the founder? Is it luck? I would love to know what you think.
I think, you know, this it's a mix of everything that you have mentioned, Iman, but mainly we always say that moment where a startup or a company can find that product market fit. Mm-hmm. I've heard Maria, I've heard Daria, you know, they spoke about the companies, and it's the minute where you find that the product that you've been designing or working is accepted by a certain group of people, and right. Making those early purchases and making those first transactions within the world, right? And right. I think this is the tricky part where every company is trying to achieve that. But around it comes everything that you mentioned. Comes the timing, comes the right market, comes the strong team that really understands that, you know, this idea will require those kind of expertise and technical talent to lead it forward, or maybe understand that they don't have it and right. Try to seek, you know, that kind of support. And of course, sometimes, you know, having the right investor could help you do that. Right. But to me, it's reaching that good product market fit and finding a good problem that fits, you know, a certain audience mainly. Right.
And maybe matches the founder's expertise.
Absolutely.
Like I see a trend with Sari and Maria where they started companies in an industry that they were even passionate about to begin with. So it made it probably a lot more exciting.
And that's absolutely right. I mean, at the end of the day, yes, passion is important, but as you heard from both of them, you know, that, you know, kind of resilience and persistence, you know, to keep happen. Mm-hmm. They do go, you know, as founders through ups and downs, you know, and maybe moments of doubts, and having right. The right mentors, having the right people, right. And maybe getting the data. And what we mostly focus, you know, Iman, you know, that in the accelerator, when we talk about the customer discovery and finding and understanding the motives of the customers, how the dynamics of the market work, that comes as a validation for you as a founder. Even when others say, no, I've seen it, you know, I know how people react, I know how people use it, I know that people need it. So right. It's a mix of passion for me and a mix of knowledge, that solid knowledge of understanding who's your competition, who's the other alternative, what are you going to offer, and when are you going to offer it, and at what right business model, right? So it's a combination right. Of so many elements.
It's so interesting hearing this information from you. I want to quickly go to the audience with a poll, very relevant to what we're speaking about, sure. And ask them, where do you get your business information from? I want to know, where does our audience get their business information from? If you can tell us, is it you want to join an accelerator? That's where you get it from. Is it from social media? Is it from family and friends? Is it from books? And I'll just do a quick countdown to 5, 4, 3, if you haven't voted, vote now, 2, 1. I'm really interested to know. Let's see, we can wrap it up. Yeah, because for me in the early stage, it was reading books. Oh, wow, books. So 79%. I'm so happy everyone here reads. Okay, great. So 79% books, 38% social media. Okay, cool, because we're all glued to our phones. Makes sense. 23% they're going to go to an accelerator, and 19% family and friends. This is really interesting. Okay, great. I'm interested too, Amel. I'm sure you've worked with so many female founders. I'm one of them. You mentor me a lot. Do you see that female founders face any particular challenges? And if so, any advice for them of how to overcome them or break any barriers?
I mean, one of the things that I have to say definitely that women has a lot of this tenacity that's needed for being an entrepreneur, right? It's about that understanding that I want to really do that. And they do it based on really that basic belief that they got to be in that, because there's so much that they have to consider.
Right.
But one of the things that I always really feel that we need to work on is that confidence of the fact that I can do it all the way from the beginning, all the way till the end, and not to lose that interest, because
Right.
of being a woman, in that sector. And how do we get it? And the reason why we probably fluctuate in that part is that we always want to do the best, and we want to be the most perfect company. We want to be the most amazing. Exactly. So
Right.
that's basically it. When we've had this discussion before about women asking for funding, and they always ask for less than what they need, right? And there's an interesting study about that. And it's all because of the way they calculate it, because of the way, and they put more on themselves than what they should in order to think, maybe if I ask for that amount, I will be more accepted. But it's not like that. I would say we as women, we gain that power from knowledge. We gain the power from, having and getting that backup from them. I love when Maria said, when I understood how investors think, and that they want to know about numbers, and that's absolutely correct, and about traction, I gave them what they wanted, right? So it's just about know what they're thinking, know their mindset, and just be sure that you got it, right? And it's all these little bit of technical skills of being able to present and being able to be out there and just not worry really after that. And maybe we need more of you guys, right? More female entrepreneurs, more examples, more role models, so we know that it's a norm. We're no longer, just a small number. There's so many others that have done it. So sharing these stories, I think, is inspiring, and it will make others really step forward.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, like I said, Ahmed has always been a huge supporter of me and of Blossom, and you've personally been such a great mentor. Before we head to startup pitches, and before we see the up and coming startups, they're an early stage, but before we hear them pitch, I want to ask you one last question for our audience. Again, given your amazing expertise, you've worked with so many entrepreneurs, what is one piece of advice you want to give to any startup looking to start, or any startup looking to grow and maybe has some trouble now with, continuing their sales, obviously now with the pandemic and with a lot of companies still healing from COVID? What is the best piece of advice you can give to aspiring and current entrepreneurs?
Always ask for help. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Reach out to anybody. People do respond over social media today. People do respond over LinkedIn. People do respond through other connections. Always seek that advice and seek the support. If you need an introduction, ask for it. And that's what I would say, basically, for everyone, because I noticed it in many entrepreneurs, it's basically being shy and thinking I have to do it. You don't have to do it on your own. Utilize every piece of network that you can reach out to, and always remember, you've got to be resilient enough. Nothing is personal, right? If you get rejected, it's about the idea. So wish you the best of luck, all of you.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much. And with that, please do keep your camera on. I also invite all our other speakers, Sadi and Maria, to also turn on their cameras. I'll have you guys muted for now as I welcome our first startup to pitch. We're really excited. So without any further ado, and then she'll share her screen and she's going to give a 2-minute, each female founder will give a 2-minute pitch, and then you guys will have 5 minutes to grill her, to challenge her, to ask her questions. So I'm really excited. Without any further ado, I know her really well. She's amazing. A fun fact about her is she's previously built a nursing home in Africa. Without any further ado, please, I'd love to introduce Yara Roth. Yara, take it away.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm so honored and excited to be presenting today. I'm Yara Roth, founder of Nasij Market, your local marketplace. If you have a look at your closet, how many times have you only worn something once and never looked at it again? The world we live in today has become obsessed with consumerism and fast fashion that exploits its workers and is destroying our environment. Fashion is the second most polluting industry in the world. We need to better look at the way we consume, shop, and spend our money. And this is where we come in. Nasij Market is a creative marketplace connecting local designers, artists, and home-based businesses to enthusiastic shoppers all around the kingdom through one platform. Sellers can easily open their shop at Nasij Market and have all the technological and business tools they need, such as accounting reports, shipping, and payment gateways, in exchange for a 10% commission fee on each transaction. Through Nasij, they'll be able to boost sales, reach more customers, save time, and be part of a creative and supportive community. And what better time to turn digital than now? COVID-19 caused a 300% growth in online sales between March and May 2020. And the e-commerce size in Saudi is over 30 billion riyals and is expected to only grow. What you will find at Nasij, we empower and enable our local businesses to make a living doing what they love. We are redefining how we shop by shifting from giant corporations to small local businesses that are at the heart of our local economy and community, moving from cheaply made mass-produced products to ethically handmade authentic crafts. What you will find on Nasij isn't just products. It's craftsmanship, talent, stories, experiences, and connection. We have won 2 startup competitions, and we have support from leading companies such as Neom, Misk, and Monsha'at. We have organically reached over 1,000 followers on our social media platforms. We already have pre-signups through our landing page. We have 30 vendors currently setting up their shops, and we're aiming to soft launch in a week. Nasij is a community built by locals for locals to support locals, and we'd love for you to be part of our ever-growing community today. Make sure to follow us on our Instagram to be the first to know when we launch. And if you're a local designer or artist looking to grow your business, open your shop today by filling the form on our website. And if you're interested in joining the Nasij Market team or have any questions, please feel free to email me at yara@nasij.market. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Yara. I'll keep your screen shared. I want everyone to get the opportunity to make sure they scan that barcode to either follow you on social media or check out your website, since I understand you're in pre-launch. And now I'd like to ask our judges to unmute. And whoever would like to start, feel free to grill Yara and ask her any questions, whether it's to further understand her startup or to challenge her on anything she mentioned during her pitch.
Hi, Yara.
Can you guys all hear me? Okay, perfect.
Hello.
Hi, Amal.
Hi, how are you? Well done, my dear. I love your pitch and the story that you actually presented to us today. So I really wish you the best of luck, and I'm happy that I'm hearing this today. So I want to know a little bit, Yara, about the tractions, if you don't mind, a little bit more. And why would a customer really choose, that beautiful message of yours, but what challenges actually are there to show people the value of what you're doing? But I want to know about the tractions more.
Thank you so much for your questions, and I'm really honored to be presenting to you and all the panelists today. Basically, what we have traction is, so we already have our website and it's ready. We're currently having our vendors sign up and start uploading their products. We already integrated with payment gateways. We have agreements with Aramex, DHL, SAMSA. We worked with lawyers to write all our shipping policies and our buyer policies, seller policies, and all that. We've finalized our branding, and why people should, artists, what trouble they have is, so nowadays everyone is selling through Instagram, and Instagram isn't really a e-commerce platform. So it's quite difficult for and challenging for local businesses if they sell, let's say, abayas, or if they sell perfume. It's difficult for them to take orders through Instagram because Instagram is very saturated, first of all. So for someone starting off, it's just going to take them a lot of time to get customers. Second of all, they have to use various different apps to fulfill their orders. So they need to go on different apps for the shipping. They need to go take the payment from another app. And it's just such a hassle for them. And a lot of them don't have the expertise of the technical side or the marketing side to really take their business to another level. And this is where we can come in.
Clear, but your attractions are paying customers, right?
Oh yeah. So what our revenue, sorry.
How many?
Oh, so we currently have 30 vendors. 30.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
And Yara, just to understand, you haven't fully launched like the actual website. You're in the pre-launch. So these are pre-signups as well.
Yeah, so these are pre-signups, and the demo that I showed isn't actually live yet. So it's only for the vendors to see. And we're soft launching next week.
Got you. That's more clear. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Maria, Sadia, any questions for Yara?
Maybe I'll go next. Well, first of all, thank you so much. Great energy, really a clear pitch. I definitely found myself kind of like, tuned in for the whole thing. And I don't know if this is more of a question or a comment. I really resonated and really love how you described the problem first and foremost. Like from that first second, you got me with, well, how many items in your closet do you have that you only wore once? And I'm like, okay, guilty as charged. Okay, can you help me save this? Where I lost a little bit the track of thought was, how does the fact that I have items of clothing that I've only worn once then translate to this particular solve for that problem, right? Because for me, like the problem and the solve for the problem are slightly disconnected. And by the way, your marketplace sounds phenomenal. I'm just not sure that is solving the problem of, the pollution. Maybe only if basically it's not maybe as logical, like instantly to get the connection between one and the other. So, but I do resonate with a marketplace of like handcrafted goods. And largely, if I think about it long enough, then I understand that then more people would be buying, these crafted goods. Less people are going to be buying Zara, so less pollution. But it took me a while to get there. And you really want your, whoever you're pitching to, potential investors, to be so focused in on what you're saying that they don't have to, everything has to be so crystal clear that they don't have to double check your logic. I guess my questions were also around traction. I think that what could be helpful maybe was, even if you don't have much, which is totally fine, even what you described it is a lot, I think putting that on a slide with big numbers would be helpful, or like big dates, because that makes it feel really, really tangible. For me, I guess the question that I would ask if I was, an investor looking at this, I would ask you, how would you drive traffic to like the consumers actually? Because that is going to be the harder part in this marketplace. How would you, what is kind of like a go-to-market strategy?
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Maria, for your feedback. And definitely that was the intention. Like I wanted it to kind of start off by people kind of just thinking about what they're consuming. And like you said, definitely moving from fast fashion to more of a local economy, because that's what we're supporting. And I guess, there was a bit of a loss in the communication. So I'll definitely work on that. Thank you so much. And to answer your question, what's our go-to-market strategy? It's definitely going to be a lot of SEO, digital marketing through our social media platforms. We also really want to do events to also bring people together, because currently it's only, in smaller areas in Saudi Arabia. So I feel like having events where people can come together and also see products and get to know more a bit about Nasij and what we are as well. And definitely mostly would be digital marketing.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I have a question. Yada, first of all, I loved your presentation and your energy. And congrats on the Siege. Really excited for you. I had the same comment as Maria. I didn't really get it from the start. I thought that at the beginning I would sell my clothes online, and like some of the proceeds would go to like solving the pollution problems elsewhere. So that's kind of what I understood at first. So yeah, maybe just next time make it a bit more clear with your messaging. But Marie already gave you the advice on that. The second thing is you talked about like a very large uptick in sales and during COVID, which is amazing. Like I'm glad that you're able to benefit out of this time. But I want to understand where did these sales come from, and how did they happen if the product's not launched yet? Like, did you have an MVP you're working on, like an Instagram page, or kind of how did that happen?
Thank you so much, Sadia. And which number was it exactly? Was it the
I believe it
300%
was
growth?
300% uptick in,
Oh,
yeah.
so that was just talking about the market, how COVID-19 basically transformed the e-commerce industry, and they saw 300% growth in e-commerce sales in
Oh,
general in the
my
world.
bad. I thought that was your MVP. So is what you're launching now your MVP?
Yes, it's going to be my MVP.
And it's going to be a website, not an app? And
Yeah, it's going to be a website starting off just to, find product market fit, and then definitely would develop later on into an app.
okay, and how do you kind of like overcome the stigma of people assuming that marketplaces like this don't have the same level of like trendiness and fashion as like mainstream brands? You know what I mean? So like they would say, oh, like it's probably not as trendy or doesn't have the up-to-date fashion like Zara does. So how do you kind of overcome that?
I feel like this has to do a lot with our society, and I feel like there is, because being like a youth myself and a teen, I can see a lot of brands like Saudi brands really, like a lot of people are actually going towards them because they're like, oh, this looks cool, it looks trendy. And I feel like it's us, like the youth and the society, that kind of have to promote this culture of really supporting locals, really, buying local, helping, like, and not just to support to help, but that it's actually like good quality items. And I really, really have been seeing a shift in quality, and in like it's actually better than stuff that you can find in Zara. And definitely it will be part of our marketing strategies, is to definitely raise awareness on those the brands, and letting people know more about them and the quality of their fabric and all that.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Yada. That was spectacular. And thank you to our amazing judges. And now, without any further ado, I'd love to introduce our next startup pitch. Okay, awesome. So our next company I'm super excited about. I went through a few health issues this year, so this is very close and relevant to my heart. I would love to introduce to you the CEO and founder of Tabib Book, Dalia Sabban. Dalia, feel free to open your camera, share with us. Amazing.
Yeah, just let me fix that.
No worries. Whenever you're ready, take it away.
Okay. So in Saudi, patients waste an average of 78.5 billion hours a year waiting at the doctor's office. As a kid, I had a chronic form of pneumonia. And the worst part of pneumonia actually had nothing to do with the illness and everything to do with how much I hated waiting at the doctor's office. My mom and I used to wait anywhere between an hour to 3 hours at a time for what felt like a 5-minute follow-up conversation with the doctor. The current healthcare experience in Saudi is very outdated and very obscure. And this is why I built Tabibuk. Tabibuk is an online patient-doctor appointment booking platform. And not only do we help create a seamless and simple experience for patients, but we also provide doctors with management and marketing tools to help optimize their patient workflow. How it works is that doctors pay a monthly subscription fee, and in exchange, we help them reduce their rate of missed appointments, help them reduce the rate of unnecessary referrals, optimize their schedule, help them save time and money, and of course, help them reduce waiting times. We currently have a fully designed prototype, and we're looking at launching in Saudi by the end of the year, and hopefully expanding to GCC countries in the next coming few years. And in order for us to do that, we're looking to recruit, we're looking to grow our team. So if anyone is interested, please reach out. This is my email. And if you know any doctors or any clinics who are currently facing similar problems, please encourage them to visit our website, tabibook.com, answer a few questions, and we'll get right back to them. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dalia. And you finished 10 seconds early. I'll ask you to, awesome. I love when that happens. I'll ask you to kindly leave your screen up. So if anyone would like to take screenshots of your website or join your team, if she needs anyone technical. So if there's any technical people looking to get into a startup, you could potentially be Dalia's technical co-founder. And with that being said, I'd love to again pass it back to our amazing judges. Feel free to ask Dalia follow-up questions and challenge her on this startup that she's building.
Dalia, beautiful start. I love the story. I love how personal it is. Very few people manage to actually pull that personal story and make it true and connected really to the core of what they're doing. So well done. It's done in a subtle, nice way. It's not overdone and it's not really underdone. So it's a well done on that. I think that the question that I would tell you is related to, so we know that the times are right to launch, such a startup basically for the value where Ministry of Health, in Saudi and in the world, they're trying to reduce the number of patients inside hospitals. And I worked there a period of time in that. So as a value proposition, I think it's timely. I think the challenge here is, there's existing ERP systems or existing management systems that are in big hospitals and some of the clinics and all of that, that may not do exactly what you do, but it kind of offers alternative options, right? So is that a challenge that you faced in your initial reach and your initial understanding, of the market? And how did you see, them accepting, such a product? And the second thing I also didn't see, and I don't know if I missed any early, oops, have we lost Dalia?
I think we have, oh no, I think we might have lost Dalia. Okay, I think Dalia's coming back. Okay, great.
All right.
We'll give her a few seconds.
I really like what she's doing. I think she's done a great job really presenting, the company.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us, Dalia?
Yes, I can hear. I have no idea what just happened.
Okay, no worries. You're back. That's all that matters.
So it's all to you now, Dalia. If you can tell us if that's a challenge with the existing systems in the hospitals and the clinics to integrate your solution.
Is the question, sorry, just that, is it a challenge to integrate to the solution, or is it how are we
how are you reaching out? So access to market, how are you reaching out to your customers really and convincing them that this is something that they obviously need, because the resistance within the healthcare. And the second thing is, do you find it really difficult that they would replace existing solutions they have with your options, because you need them to be part of it, right, to promote it so patients can use it?
Yeah. I think some of the reasons why they would be willing to use our product, or why they'd be encouraged to use it, is because we really offer services or technical functions in our product that really focuses on their pain points. Their biggest pain points we found is that a lot of patients miss their appointments. Their patients come in very unsatisfied because usually they're waiting really long times. And also they don't have access to their schedules 24/7. It's a bit harder to cancel. There's always managing secretaries and stuff like that. So there's technical functionalities that we offer that they have found that is very useful.
But Dalia, big hospitals are doing that already. Most of the hospitals we deal with have their own app that shows 24/7 slots, shows changes, right? So how I think, unless you tell me I'm targeting, just the polyclinics, for example, or the ones that don't have the infrastructure. So I want to know really which one is the customer segment.
So we're definitely targeting private clinics and private doctors. And you're right, there are a lot of hospitals now that have their own apps, their own websites. And we're looking at also providing doctors, the ones with smaller clinics, their own practices with exposure online. They're not getting a lot of patients that are even related to their specialty. So that's what we kind of want to give them, the opportunity to have the profiles online, get more customers, more patients related to their specialty. Yeah.
I mean, the last comment here is, if you're able to quantify the loss of a customer in value of money, for these clinics, you know, and for these individual doctors, that will be more convincing than just telling them, you know, all the features are amazing, right? But if you're not able to quantify it to them in time, in term of time, you got to see their mindset, what they're really in pain of, and translate it. If it's value of money, then that's it. I know that private clinics are struggling, you know, today with driving more patients. So how is your app going to help them do this? But really wish you best of luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your question.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Amal. And Maria, Sadia, if any of you want to jump in and ask Dalia any questions and challenge her, feel free to.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely loved your pitch, totally connected with your personal story. Agree that it flows very seamlessly. I didn't have to think twice about like, why are you the perfect founder for this company? I initially, as you're just kind of wanted to let you know what was going through my head as I was listening to your pitch. My first one was like, okay, healthcare. So getting customers might be a challenge depending on how she's thinking about the virality of the product, etc. So that was like what was going on through my head. Then I realized, like, so I was like, the kinds of questions I was asking myself, well, like, is it up to a doctor? Can like one doctor just like download the software? Does it have to be the whole hospital, right? So that was like, depending on that, it might be easier or harder. And then really, as you know, as we approach towards the end of your pitch, what, you know, the virality loop is there. Meaning, if you already have the doctor that you love and trust, they recommend you that software. As a patient, you're going to start using the software. So I'm maybe less worried about that. So towards the end of your pitch, the only question that I had was, okay, so you clearly have the prototype, you clearly have an MVP. For a business like yours, it's almost like a B2B business where you really only have to convince the doctors or the hospitals to use it, which is a much smaller, basically, you only have to get the buy-in of so many people. Arguably, it's, you know, it could be easier to get feedback faster, right? So that is what was the main thing that was missing from your pitch to me personally was, you know, if the only people that we care that like love this product, or first and foremost, we care that the doctors really love this and they find this compelling and they find this better than anything else that's on the market. You know, how do we, is there proof, you know, whatever traction point that they really love the product and they think it's fundamentally better than what's out there? So I was almost like looking for a stat, like 30% of doctors that we polled say that they would prefer this. So this is like 2 times better than whatever option that they're using, something, right? And for that, the good thing is like for that, you don't really need that much biz dev, right? Technically, a founder can do that by just talking to a select group of doctors and really getting very specific feedback on how this relates to all the other solutions on the market. I do agree, especially for a competitive market. I do agree with Amal. Competitive set matters, especially with healthcare, where sales cycles tend to be really long in general. And maybe I'm thinking the US, but it's probably not an easy industry anywhere in the world. So if you know that what's going to come out as a question to you would be, how does your product compare to everything else, every solution that's out there? Put it on a slide and address it head on, which is what I had to do a lot with my business, right? So, you know, because you know that question is coming, right? Yeah. So might as well just like get it out of the way. So people and your investors and whoever's listening to this pitch would know that, oh, she already thought of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, I think that's what kind of like what was just going on through my head, and would love to know like what the feedback has been from doctors, really.
A lot of doctors have shared that they do face these issues, and those are their biggest pain points. And a lot of them are interested in using our product when we launch. So we did get a lot of positive feedback. As for kind of what differentiates us from, you know, competitors and stuff, we're looking more right now in Saudi market at like superior integrated design, better UX UI, because everything that's offered in the market right now, it's heavy, it's overwhelming. And we just want to simplify the whole experience. So that's one of the main things that we're offering. And then also superior customer service as for both doctors and patients. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you for your question. Yeah.
Great. Sadia, I'll have you hop in.
Yeah, so first of all, Dalia, great presentation. I love that you're tackling a problem that you personally faced. I think it's really great when a founder does that. Of course, Maria and Amal already asked the questions I wanted to ask, but a few people have been mentioning that hospitals are already doing this, but I do understand that your solution can plug into many different hospitals and clinics, and one user like myself as a patient, I can browse all the different options that are available across multiple hospitals, as opposed to downloading each hospital's app, which I don't think many people are going to do or will do. So it's great that you're able to plug into different providers, I guess. But I kind of want to understand as well, like, what is your go-to-market strategy, and how do you plan on like launching, and which markets do you see are the most appetizing for this?
Thank you for your question. So we're looking at first focusing on private sector, doctors and clinics in the private sector. We're looking at specifically in Jeddah, since that's where we are right now, and we know the market very well here. We know a lot of people here. So we're going to start there here in Jeddah with specific types of clinics that offer different kinds of services, and then growing from there.
Oh, that's awesome. And how are you kind of like interviewing the doctors and understanding more from them what they need and what is like not offered already on other softwares or platforms available right now?
So we do it a few different ways. We send surveys, and we also speak to them directly, my partner and I, who's my sister as well. And we talk to them, and we kind of see how they talk about the whole process and what are their biggest problems that they're facing, without trying to lead them into answering what we basically want to hear. And yeah, that's kind of how we're going about it now.
That's great. Well, congrats, and good luck on your venture.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dalia, and thank you all. We only have one more startup. So thank you again so much, Dalia, for your time. So our last and next startup, her name is Rula Yusuf, and she has a training center that has gone from offline to online called Rula Beauty Training Center. She's very passionate about what she does, and she's personally taught me how to put the makeup I have on tonight. So without any further ado, I'd love to ask Rula Yusuf to join us. أهلا وسهلا Rula. You can don't forget to unmute.
Unmute. Yes.
Awesome.
Okay. Hi guys. Hi everyone. This is Rula Yusuf. I'm a professional makeup artist trained in Los Angeles and London. Owner and founder of Rula Beauty Training Center, based in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. We train women how to apply makeup for themselves and how to do makeup for others professionally. So at our training center, offline classes, we trained over 500 customers, but when COVID-19 hit us, we transferred all the courses to online. And this was amazing to us. And it gave us to reach more people and more customers. Since COVID-19, we reached over 1,000 customers. And I want to show you the website, please. I'm gonna share it now.
No worries. You're still not even a minute into the pitch.
Yeah, I need to share the website. Okay, this is how everyone can sign up. In the website, the whole classes is over here. We offer different classes and different prices with unique benefits, like we provide gift boxes and special discounts in beauty stores once they sign up in the classes, soft copy booklets, and certificates, definitely. So this is what we provide, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Rula. Thank you so much. And now you can keep this website scrolling. So if anyone is interested, they can head over to your website. It says right there, rulabeauty.com.sa. And now I'll pass it over to our panel of expert judges. Feel free to further ask Rula some questions if you want to further understand what she's built and challenge her on anything.
All right. Good to see you, Rola. And nice pen up. I need you to teach me how to do the eyeliner. I never managed to
It's
do
on
it.
my YouTube. I can share it with you.
So, Rola, I can see that. Is this website a working website? Like you've got people already signing up and like you have your
Yes.
revenue. And when did you start?
Since COVID-19.
All right. And how much revenue, if you don't mind me asking, so far?
I prefer, if you don't mind, I can give it to you privately.
Not a problem. How many
But
customers
we have
have you
a good,
served?
very good traffic. What I can say, we have a very great traffic than the offline classes, because we are, I can say we are the only one we provide this in Arabic language.
Okay, so let me tell you one thing, because you haven't really pitched up like a traditional pitch that would cover the whole opportunity and answer all probably the questions that we would want to say. But I mean, since this is an opportunity that was born during COVID-19, what you want to show now is, you know, build on that. Show that this is not just, you know, kind of a trend that may actually drop down after COVID-19, right? So one of the things that we started to see is that there is a lot of hype around, you know, certain online gems, online, you know, certain stuff, like people have moved to that trend. But we want to make sure that people will stay online, and that when things go back to normal, hopefully, or whatever the normal is, they're not going to ditch the website and they're not going to ditch the online business, and this is going to be sustainable. So I want to make sure that the behavior of the client is going to stay at least in a way where I see that your business is scalable, right? So that requires understanding of the market, size of the market, why this is going to be shifted towards that. You're talking about, you know, women, you're talking about an education, right? At the end of the day, you're teaching. And I think there is a lot of pieces that you can actually integrate here, and it will add a lot of value to your pitch.
Yeah.
So I think you kind of sold it short. We need to see really how much is the size of this opportunity over the long term, right? And the other thing is why you, and why not the other stuff? Like we know that Huda Beauty and so many others are really hitting the internet for free, right? And you see that a lot of like the normal people like myself and like not professional, we look at a video and like, I'm done, you know, I'm just gonna go and do it, right? Yeah. So who is really the customer? Is it people that are gonna start beauty salons? Is it people that
actually
are sitting at home? Yeah.
Yeah, we have a big scale and different scale. We have corporates. We train the employees, the sales points. We train them to do makeup, how to do it, and how to sell the product. The product knowledge is a big part of the beauty education. So
see,
this
now
is,
I like.
Yeah, this is the gap.
Now I like.
Oh,
so that's the gap that wasn't sure, yeah? So it wasn't really clear. Now I like it. Now it's
Actually, it's a huge industry, but as you said, everyone just saying what you are doing exactly. It's a big industry. It's not only about individuals. We work with corporates to train sales
reps and knowledge. Yeah. And if you took only Saudi Arabia, think of Saudi only.
Yeah. Even
ladies that are
I have been working like 6 years in this business, and we trained like governmental companies also. Like I can say Saudi Airlines. We train the attendants how to do makeup. There is a dress code.
Well,
there is a makeup
my dear, I would love to speak to you, you know, about reshaping your pitch. You know, there's so much that hasn't. I really don't want to take a longer time. There's so much that you can really present this opportunity in a much more attractive way, but keep it up. We'd love to continue the discussion with you. Maria, Saria, you really have got to ask all the questions.
Right.
I think there's so much.
And maybe absolutely. And I'll just intervene and say one thing. Rula had a really bad fever yesterday and today.
Oh.
And she usually pitches much stronger. She had COVID symptoms. She forgot to mention that she had it. So her training center initially was offline. And so the majority, and actually what she specializes in is training trainers more so than individuals. I'm just an individual that she taught, but she has Shahada Mu'tamada where she trains trainers. And I just wanted to make sure that everyone got that, because I think you forgot
I'm sure what you're doing is great. You just don't sell it short. You know, there's so much that you can.
I know 2 minutes is not enough. I was trying to squeeze it.
Yeah, well, Yeah, thank you so much. Very exciting concept for me. I love makeup. I also own a makeup brand. I took makeup classes offline prior to COVID. So I was like, ooh, this is interesting. The question that I had some of the same questions, honestly, that Amal already brought up. So I'm not going to repeat myself. I had my first and biggest one was like, who is the target market? And do we have multiple pockets of consumers, right? Because sometimes like who you're going after first might not be that core customer down the road. And very often, especially when you talk about like businesses that end up scaling and becoming like billion-dollar companies, who they originally thought was their customer was not who they scaled with. And this customer that they scaled with, and I think Intuit and QuickBooks is like one of these examples, which is an accounting software. It wasn't meant to be an accounting software. They didn't want to be an accounting software. I think they wanted to be a project management software, but people like really use like this, like small, like mom and pop shops use them to close their books. And they didn't want that customer like, can you please stop using my product in this way? And then ultimately that's how they build their multi-billion-dollar business, which is kind of funny. But I think that really studying the different pockets of your customers and really not discounting the ones that seem like very, like a little bit often weird at the beginning and like you don't know that the opportunity might be there, just really being super open-minded. And I think that is just a very interesting thing within your business. My question for you was, what was the biggest challenge in trying to take this digital? Because just from my personal experience taking makeup classes, when things are going great, it's amazing. But when you cannot really get that eyebrow to point in the right direction, it's really helpful when the makeup artist just comes up to you and you're like, no, Maria, this is how you do the stroke, right? And they literally like take my arm in their hands and like they point my fingers to do the right thing. So how do you solve with things like that? You know, or are you in the process of adopting the offline into the online model?
Yeah. Actually, because I'm already a beauty trainer, so I didn't get this challenging for me. It was so much fun because I got a whiteboard and I got A4 and I write on it, I draw on it, I explain it like in details. And alhamdulillah, thank God, I got like a huge feedbacks. Like everyone was shocked with all the details they can get online classes. So I can't say I get a challenging education online because I know what I'm doing. But what I can say, it's only the quality of the camera. This is the only challenging this, but what I do is getting closer to the camera so I can solve this. But I make sure all the students, they understand what I'm saying, what I'm drawing, especially when it comes to eyes. It's so much detailed, but I'm trying my best.
Yeah. And it's also another aspect that you mentioned that was very exciting was that you have this like kits for them, you know, something like a starter kit.
Yeah, no one doing this. So I'm pretty sure that they have the whole benefit from the class.
Yeah. And it could, you know, down the road also be a very nice e-commerce opportunity there. Because like whatever products you learn makeup with are the products and the brands that you keep using for the rest of your life. So maybe even have some type of affiliate model with this makeup brands that you're introducing to talent. Yeah, I got overly excited about this, as you can tell.
Exactly.
But really great. Thank you.
They get attached immediately to the product.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And Sadia, I wanted to make sure you had some time too.
Yeah, Rola, first of all, I love that you took advantage of COVID and started the business that you're passionate about. Like, that's amazing. Congrats. I wanted to ask you about the market size because I know, like, of course, in Saudi, women are into this, but I want to understand more, like, what the market size is for this specific thing. And if I, as a user, I'm able to eventually, or maybe this is something that you're going to branch into, but what about users booking makeup artists to come at home to do their makeup for an event or a wedding? Because I myself probably won't take a makeup class because that's something that I'm not into, but I would definitely like to use a platform where I could book a makeup artist to come do my makeup for a wedding or any other event like that.
Yeah. So the market size, right? The market size is so huge, especially in the online. I was shocked with the online classes because a lot of people, they want to travel just to attend the certified classes because it's available here. I will not say it's not available. It's available everywhere. But the certified classes and certified school with high professional, they are that providing like the kits and the location and other benefits like a special discount, it's not available here. And this is what I learned out of Saudi Arabia, and I come with it. So the market size is huge, and there is a huge opportunity for expansion, especially with the online, because a lot of people, they can't travel, they attend the classes. The first online class I did, it was free for 30 minutes just to introduce myself. And for example, I give them just the eyebrows tips and tricks. I got 5,000 sign up. Do you imagine? So this is the traffic that we get the online classes.
Allah, that's great. Yeah, Allah waffaqik.
Yeah.
Maybe just next time have like the exact number of the market size and how much you think that Rola Beauty can get a piece of.
Yeah. Actually, this is talking about only the individual, but there is corporates also, and there is government or corporate, they want a training.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Rola. يعطيكي ألف عافية. Thank you. And now it looks like we're coming to the end of the event. I would like to personally thank again our strategic partner, Monsha'at, our official sponsor, Nurnov, our amazing community partners, Aqal, The Space, Creative Mornings, and Destination KSA, and of course our amazing and distinguished partners, ERA, Entrepreneurship Roundtable Accelerator. If you need anything from me, you can personally email me, anyone here, more than happy. My email is my first name, Iman, @blossom.sa. You can also email our info email. These women that you saw pitching today are going to be part of our next Accelerator program. You can apply to our next Accelerator program as well via our website. And thank you all for being with us tonight. And of course, a special thank you to our amazing and outstanding speakers. Thank you so much for taking the time today to give us your valuable insight, expertise. It means so much. I hope you feel like my true heartfelt thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you to Maria all the way from New York, taking time during the day. Thank you to Sadia, and thank you for always throughout the years, Amal. And thank you, Ina, so much for the opportunity for us joining forces in this event. I hope you all have a spectacular evening, and hope to see you next time.